one of the ways that that comes across really clearly is I don't know whether or not it's true to the book, but the inclusion of queercore culture in the film, and I'm wondering whether or not you can speak to some of the reactions that you've had in terms of including that, because that seems to me a transgression that would be even more difficult to talk about aside from just mixing religion and punk culture. It's this sort of sexual transgression that a lot of people put up barriers in terms of, being able to talk about. So did you face any sort of reaction to that, or?
Well, again, it's like exploring like that kind of, I get a very distinct reaction from, let's just say, conservative Muslim crowd. It's unacceptable. You cannot have, a gay Muslim. You can't have someone gay being Muslim, which, is sort of an anarchist sort of thing. If you to them, it's like it's blasphemy to think like that or do that. So, having that, again, it's trying to incorporate issues and ideas that would usually not be allowed to be in the same, you couldn't talk about that within an Islamic context, but with this story, we can. And that goes the same with, the scene where she's crossed out a verse in the Quran that she doesn't agree with. And a lot of people, that's straight up, that's the word of God. You can't do that, and that's blasphemous and so forth. So, we purposely took on these issues to start conversations about them, and the homosexuality within Islam is starting to finally change. Away from our film, if you look at the way people are talking, because it's been such a hot issue across the states, people have to think about it on their own, and they might not verbalize how they actually feel about the issue. But most people, I think are finally warming up to that. It's a long ways away from being fully accepted, but again, the point of making this film is that you pull that conversation out into the public, and you make people, sensitive about it, and you force people to talk about it.
That's what makes it a great film, when you can get controversy and people talking. That's what's great about it.
Yeah. We took on two genres, which are, two themes which are very sensitive to people. So you're gonna piss people off. It's just, and then sometimes that works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. But what you have to also have in your favor is people that actually like the film. This is the kind of movie that we'll see how time treats it. It's really early to judge it right now, and it hasn't really been seen by that many people. It's going to be on Netflix streaming in a few weeks, so that's when we'll know sort of. A lot of people are going to see it at that point who come across it, who've had a slight interest, and then as more and more people see it, we'll get a sort of better sense. But I think it's going to be a mixed reaction, and that's something we keep going into it. The book has always had that same thing. The book has been around for almost 10 years, and it's gotten the same exact reaction. So, it's something to be expected.
You got good performances out of your actors. They were really good.
Thank you.
Are all the actors from Cleveland as well?
No, they're all from, one was from New York, and then most of them were out of LA. It was very difficult to cast the film. There's a few people that I had found on my own, and then we needed the help of a casting director because it's really minority actors, especially within the Middle Eastern, South Asian community. It's hard to find people. There's not that many people that do it professionally. It's still a young community entering this field, so it's hard to find good talent. So we had hired, at first we found a cast director in Hollywood who eventually said she couldn't do it anymore because she felt that it was uncastable. So then we had to leave Hollywood. We went to Louisiana. There's this gentleman by the name of Ryan Glorioso who does a lot of they call it extras casting for big Hollywood films when they shoot in Louisiana. And he was really cool, and we cold emailed him. He read the script. He liked it a lot, and he helped us cast it nationwide. So ended up everyone coming out of LA. A lot of people have some really good credits to their names. As a first-time director, I really lucked out. I think a few of these people are really going to have some strong careers ahead of themselves. And obviously, everyone likes Dominic's performance after Red Mohawk, and I think I really lucked out, and everyone had an incredible time. It was like a sort of special experience, the making of the film.
How much of your own upbringing went into the film?
I'm sorry?
How much of your own upbringing went into the film? How much of your own experience went into it?
Yeah. So, I definitely came from more of the nerdy, the nerdy engineering student. That's more me than John here. So, I came in with that sort of basis of being the sort of person who was always afraid to step on people's toes. Came up with my mom was very religious. My dad was actually not. So I was in a sort of a mixed upbringing, and being a first-generation kid, my parents had immigrated from Syria. It was like I took the culture very seriously within an American context. So I was sort of that guy trying to figure out my own identity in between everything, and that's why I responded very well to this book. It's sort of I had stuck this stuff on a shelf. I'd gone to school and college, and I was just like, I don't know what to deal with this whole path I had with my teenage years and my religion, all that upbringing. So this book sort of forced me to pull out my feelings about it, and sort of it was my sort of therapy in going through it all. And and same with a lot of the actors. We have these weird relationships with our religious upbringings. A few of the other characters in the film are Muslims, and after the film, we all came away much better, feeling much better about our identity, not having to necessarily adhere to what we're supposed to be taught. Not that we did live that way as adults, but you have that guilty conscience of you're not living up to perhaps what those are expecting of you or whatever. And as much as you want to shake that off and pretend like it's not there, whether it's society or your family, you always are, I think, struggling with that. So again, the book helped me. The making of the film helped me deal with that, and obviously exploring punk. I knew a basis of punk as a high schooler and in college, but didn't really understand the heart of it until making this film and sort of forcing sort of experiences and research, and a lot of stuff went into it. And obviously, for those who, one of the criticisms we've had in the film is that, well, punk has more music in it. There's not that much music in the film, per se. And that's people's definition of punk. My punk was more on the ideological side, and he was exploring that side of things, and that's why we tried to navigate it with the film. Again, using punk as a lens to explore Islam. So,
when punk started, it wasn't didactic as it's looked at now, where it's just one thing. So that's why also I was kind of curious about you using the Bad Brains as part of that film, and even Alternative Tentacles. These were all things that were breaking barriers, and that's what punk was really all about. It wasn't like a Gap brand, and I think what you did was awesome. It was you sort of nailed it. If you heard me at all.
I did. I appreciate that. Thank you. We gave it our best shot, and we did try to do something different with something that's been sort of, done in sort of a stay away for, exploring religion in general, not even Islam. It's always sort of done run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. That's what you see.
So do you think we can get you to come in person with some punk bands and maybe a documentary, and let's do it up?
If you guys are still interested, absolutely, be there in a heartbeat. We've always talked about getting everyone together, the people who made the documentary, the bands involved. We sort of had like a mini congregation at Sundance when we read the film, but it was sort of chaotic. It wasn't really celebrating everyone's work. It was just focusing on this film. But I think bringing everyone together, bringing people in the community that are from the punk community, people that are from religious communities, just like, exploring things all out in that regard. I think that'd be incredible. I think we'd do something very special. So yeah, let me know when I'm there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Unless anybody has a last question.
Well, I did have two last questions. Can you comment on your previous film work, and do you have any other potential projects in the near future lined up?
So, previously I did some short films. None of them, you can't really see any of them, thankfully. But now I'm in the works. I'm trying to do a documentary and another fiction film. Actually, right now, nothing's ever for certain, but right now I'm working sort of on like a neo-noir genre film, sort of dealing with the stuff going on in the Middle East right now, like all the protesting and the liberating and all that stuff. So trying to do a news story, revolving around that kind of stuff, and that's it really. Just trying to eat and do the thing that I love, and hopefully I can continue forward.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in this special way. I have to say you're the first streaming artist to visit Hallwalls in this capacity. So thank you so much for breaking the boundaries, and we can't wait to have you in person in the near future, and we'll be in touch about that. But thank you again for your film, and thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for sticking around on Saturday night and checking this thing out. And like Carolyn said, I'd love to come and be there in person soon. So thanks again, and have a good night.